The San Diego Gulls just got hit with a big change, and it could shift everything. Nathan Gauthier has been called up to the Anaheim Ducks, and while that's great for development, it leaves a big hole in this San Diego Gulls lineup. And the timing, well, it's pretty tough because the Gulls are coming off back-to-back losses to Abbotsford, where they struggled with slow starts and played from behind all night. Now, yes, there are bright spots as Sasha Pastujov is on an absolute tear, leading the team in points and extending his streak again. Justin Bailey hit 20 goals, but here's the issue. This team is relying on late comebacks way too often, and without Gauthier, that margin for error gets even smaller. So the big question becomes who steps up now? Because if nobody fills the gap, this could go from a bump in the road to a real problem as we approach playoff time in the AHL. So this is the big headline as we're going to start with the biggest news, and that's the roster movement. The Anaheim Ducks have recalled Nathan Gauthier from the San Diego Gulls, and Frank, this is a big one.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Gauthier was coming off of his best stretch of the season with 18 points over his last 21 games, plus the first hat trick of his career just recently. He has been one of San Diego's most reliable two-way forwards, and now he gets his shot at the NHL level. But the flip side is here, this leaves a very noticeable gap in this San Diego Gulls lineup, especially down the middle at the center position.
And we talked about the timing. The timing is not great for the San Diego Gulls as we get closer to playoff time and a team that has been playing really good hockey. And they just had a tough series in Abbotsford. I mean, the Gulls ran into trouble on the road. They dropped both games to the Abbotsford Canucks, a 5-2 loss where they didn't score until late in the third. 5-3 loss despite multiple comeback pushes. This was a team chasing the game most of the time. They showed fight, no question, but the slow starts and defensive lapses were costly, and that has been a problem for the Gulls this season. They have dug themselves into holes, and yes, the comeback kids have made a lot of great comebacks, but you can't do that night in and night out and expect to win AHL hockey games.
No, you cannot. And you really they have to find a way to start. They have to find a way to start a lot better, not just defensively, but offensively as well. You cannot be putting yourself into holes and not giving yourself some advantages to try to be able to maintain. And as you said, we've been doing these now for about 3 months, and this is every single time we discuss the San Diego Gulls. It's well, they came back late, put up a fight, and still lost, or they won big. So while some of these signs are encouraging, these last couple of games against Abbotsford just have not been what you wanted to see out of the Gulls.
Now, you talked about the encouraging portions of these particular games. I mean, you've got some players that are playing very well. I mean,
Yeah.
Sasha Pastujov is on a tear. Team leader with 51 points, which is a career high, currently on a 6-game point streak. Justin Bailey hit the 20-goal mark and is running a 5-game point streak. And Tristan Leno continues to produce from the blue line, now on a 4-game point streak. This team is still getting offense, but it's coming too late in games right now.
Yeah, it's got to come throughout the game. It's got to be less spurts and more just sustained pressure. Now it's hard to be able to sustain that pressure throughout a 60-minute hockey game, but that's what shows the difference between players who play in the AHL and players like Gauthier who are going to go up to the NHL.
Yeah, and they got to do a lot better of not having to play from behind. I mean, the Gulls are becoming a team that starts slow, falls behind, tries to rally late. And while that worked during the comeback wins against Colorado, it's not sustainable. And at this level, if you're consistently and constantly chasing games, eventually it catches up to you. And that's exactly what happened against Abbotsford. And that is something you do not want to have right now in the season.
No, you're in a playoff push right now. You are in a playoff spot, but it's not locked, and you have a chance to be able to get a little bit further ahead in the postseason race. So yeah, this is not a recipe that's going to win you games in the regular season. It's not really a recipe that's going to win you a playoff position, and it's certainly not going to win you games in the AHL postseason in the fight for the Calder Cup.
Now the Gulls come home and they have a key matchup against Tucson yet again, against the Roadrunners. And here's what matters. Life without Gauthier. Who steps into that role? First period urgency. Can they start faster? And defensive structure, too many goals against early. The next stretch is about adjustment. How do you see this team making the adjustments for this week?
They're really going to they're really going to show what they're made of now without Gauthier. They're going to need to find somebody. Pastujov has looked like he's going to be that guy so far that can step up if given the reins, if given the proper opportunity. He's played very, very well, leading the Gulls in points. He's going to really have to be that guy who is going to step up into that role if he, one, wants a crack at the NHL, and two, wants to prove that he can help this Gulls team long term.
And that's the question. Does Nathan Gauthier's call up help or hurt the Gulls right now? And here's the reality. Long term, it's a win, no question, because the Gulls are doing their job. They're
Yeah.
producing and developing players to help the parent club, the Anaheim Ducks. That's the goal of the AHL, to then develop players and send them up. But short term, this obviously hurts. This is rough timing for the Gulls portion of the season because Gauthier was one of the most complete players on this team. He's physical, he's reliable, he produces on the offensive side, and you're already seeing a team struggling with consistency now lose one of their most consistent pieces. So removing that piece at this time, somebody has to step up and make an impact, or else this could turn into a slide, which is not the right time as you're trying to clinch a spot in the Calder Cup playoffs.